Good evening to one and all. Uh, so I've seen like there are 35 participants already. So we'll wait a few minutes more and then we'll begin the session. So till then, you all can write in the comment section or in the chat section, whatever you call it, like how did you enjoy the previous session? That was the other day. How did you all like it? With Loveleen ma'am. And remember, this is a day 2. So today we have Kamal Vaid sir with us. And we just wanted to have a quick recap that how you all felt about the previous session. Yeah, because after you share, so sir will also be in a state like, okay, they know this much or they learned it from yesterday's session. Really resourceful, hope to learn more today. Great. I'm sure you will. And what else did you learn yesterday? Very good and informative. Yeah, thank you, Pranav. And what about the rest? Yeah, the basics things. Yeah, all the drag and drop and how you can make your apps so easily. Great, great. So in a few minutes we'll begin. So till then, just stay tuned. अच्छा, in the meantime, I just wanted to know like कितने जन इधर है जो सिर्फ goodies के लिए आए हैं and कितने जन है जो कुछ सीखने आए हैं और your answer can be both. So या तो you can unmute yourself or you can write in the chat section whatever feels right. So be honest to yourself कि goodies के लिए आए हैं कि सीखना है कुछ. बहुत सीखना है, हमें सीखना है. To learn both. Great. Kamal sir is saying me and Loveleen ma'am for goodies. बहुत सीखने आए हैं. To learn बहुत. Great यार. मेरे को कोई पूछता तो हम तो डायरेक्टली बोलते goodies. तुम लोग कहते मॉडेस्ट, अच्छा लगा देख के. चलो, Avneet is with me. Goodies. बहुत. Exactly, Anubhav. Great. So,
Hello, Patel. Hello.
Yeah, Gulam.
What about goodies? I can't understand. What is goodies?
Goodies.
Everyone commented goodie. I can't understand. Please tell me.
Okay, so we'll arrange. We have arranged a welcome video. So we tried to play it yesterday, but for some technical issues we were in. But you just see the welcome video completely, then we'll talk about it. So yeah, so a very warm welcome to each and every one of you, and especially Kamal Vaid sir for taking your time out and just honoring your presence. And sir, we are highly grateful that eminent person like you is taking the session, and for all the people who are attending, we are really grateful for having you. So we have arranged a small welcome video. So we tried playing yesterday, but as I said, for some technical issues, we weren't able to. So I would ask Swaroop to kindly present and show the welcome video to all.
Good evening, everyone. I extend a warm welcome to all at today's session.
We find an immense pleasure in introducing our chief guests and speakers.
Mr. Kamal Vad and Ms. Loveleen Kaur to enlighten you all about the fundamentals of Android development.
Kamal sir is certified Android developer and Java professional with development experience in Google API and AI.
He is a Google certified Android developer, technology lead at Infosys, and GDE for Google Assistant.
He has good knowledge of Core Java and HTTP web services.
He also has a solid knowledge of software development lifecycle for Android apps, from designing to developing and testing, and to finally deploying on the Google Play Store.
He has a great ability to work independently and also as a team member with effective problem solving skills.
Wait, even our lovely ma'am is also skilled in Core Java, PHP, C, C++, and has also contributed towards an Oracle SQL developer.
She is a web and mobile application developer with a demonstrated history of working in software industry.
She's also a Google certified Android developer and she's currently active as a software engineer in Trantor, where she builds Android applications for the platform.
She has always continuously worked, discovered, evaluated and implemented new technologies to maximize development efficiency.
Wow, both of them have proved that being a Google developer is no joke, and they are a true inspiration for students like us.
We are very thankful for taking your time out of your busy schedule to be a part of today's session and research panel.
We really hope that the attendees are able to seek guidance and imbibe something from their thoughts.
The entire family of Developer Students Club of Siliguri Institute of Technology is really thankful towards your auspicious presence in our today's event. Thank you so much.
So yeah, thank you, Swaroop. So yes, sir, that was our welcome video for you and Loveleen ma'am. The recorded part is already uploaded in the YouTube section. So if you are not following or have subscribed to our YouTube channel, so please kindly do it. And I will ask one of the core members to drop a link so that they can directly visit and subscribe at least and watch the video later. So yeah, thank you. So it's our pleasure. And yeah, so that was all. And for the goodies part, I think we'll keep that at the end of the session. Okay, where we'll explain all the doubts regarding everything. So Kamal Ved sir is there only, but apart from that, we are there. So we'll keep the Q&A session at the last. And without wasting further time, so I will leave the mic to Kamal sir. Sir, all yours.
Thank you, brother. And thank you all for having me today. So today we'll discuss some fundamentals of Android. I believe Loveleen has covered a lots of things yesterday, so I'll take it from there only. So before I begin, I would like to know what all things that you have tried yesterday, or what are the learnings that you have from yesterday's session. Maybe on comment section, let's say you learned something about linear layout or other kind of layouts. If you tried something that is not working, right? Let's have an interactive session because I want everyone to learn something. So keep on asking the queries, right? And I'll be asking questions in the meanwhile as well. So what all things you have learned from the previous session from yesterday? Anything? Am I audible firstly?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. Maybe in the comment section, everyone. Yeah, okay. RX. Okay, let me start with a small presentation. Okay, this is about me. I'm GD in Google Assistant and working as a tech lead at Infosys. Right now, I'm in Chandigarh DC that I'm working from. Apart from that, I'm also organizer for Google Developer Group Chandigarh and lead for Facebook group in Chandigarh as well. This is my LinkedIn and Twitter. So Android, we have heard a lot of things about Android, right? It's a mobile operating system. So whenever we try to publish or whenever we think of an app, right? Let's say we think of building an application. What is the first thing that comes into our mind? What do we think? How do we approach before we create any application? Anyone? I'll minimize this
Coding,
screen
sir.
just to see in comments.
Coding, sir.
Okay. Apart from that, proper plan and what should we include in plan?
Uh, ID needed for code.
Okay. I'll not waste much of our time. So very first thing we think about, right? We try to build app on an idea. Okay. Then we think about try to build small application. Then I need to think who will be using it. Right? If I make something, will it be used by someone? How many people will be using it? Right? So I need to think of my user base. Then I go ahead. Okay. Then second thing, we think about the platform on which I want to release my idea. Let's say if I want to build an e-commerce application, then I would like to target web, mobile. Mobile will cover both Android and iOS and even Windows if Windows has a large user base, right? So why Android is so much important nowadays? Anyone? Why we keep on thinking, okay, if we think of building an application, the very first thing comes into our mind, it should be having an Android, right? It should be an Android application.
Because Android has a large user base.
And it can be used on many devices, like from TV to car, watch, means that watch, smartwatch.
Okay. And whenever, okay, which is the market that we target usually? Let's say if we are trying to build an application, what market we target? Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say
Mobile
from
phone.
yeah, from organization point of view, let's say if we get a client from US, and it totally depends upon the application, again the user base. So if we want to target a user of US or maybe Canada or maybe some other countries, the first preference will be iPhone, right? Secondary is Android. If we talk about India, then the first preference is Android. So we calculate the user base which we are going to cover on the basis of the country in which we are trying to release the application. Okay, it's an important point that I wanted to cover about Android. Okay, so this is Android that we are pretty much familiar with, right? It's an operating system, mobile operating system on a Linux based operating system that we have. Then the very next important thing that we need to understand is the architecture of the Android, right? This is a pretty old diagram, okay, and is the diagram that we need to consider whenever we think about Android. If you can see, the very bottom layer is Linux kernel, that contains all the drivers that you need for calling, for for your Wi-Fi connection, for your audio calling, uh, right? The camera that you need. The second thing that comes into the architecture picture is the libraries and the runtime. Okay, these are the libraries which we use to create applications, which resides in the second layer of the Android. Okay, so Android runtime also is a part of the second layer that contains these libraries plus the core libraries and the DVM. Okay, then comes the third layer, because why I'm explaining this, whenever you start building something, you need to understand the core. This is very important. If you don't understand the core, there's no point doing coding or something, because you can write the code, but whenever a person asks you something basic about that particular technology, you won't be able to answer it. So my piece of advice, whenever you start Python, .NET, iOS or Android, try to learn the basics, rest will follow. Okay, so this is the third layer of the Android architecture that we have, application framework. We call it as a developer framework layer. Okay, so in this layer we usually write the code. Okay, here you can see all the application frameworks are available, which are built on top of these two layers. Activity manager. Okay, you must have learned activity yesterday, right? So we use activity from activity manager, then the package manager. Whatever packages we import, it comes from here only. Then we have certain other framework libraries that we use, or frameworks that we use for development purpose, that is resource management, location manager, notification manager. So let's say if I want to create a notification in my application, I'll be referring to this framework that is available in this layer. And the last and the final layer of this architecture is the applications, that is your phone, from where users just click and use the application. Let's say users clicks on the contact application, they dial something, they use phone, they use browser to browse something, a website maybe on the mobile, then you click on home, right? So these are the four basic layers that we have in Android. I hope you are clear with the purpose for each and every one. If anyone has any doubt, just let me know about these four things that we have in Android architecture. Why we have it, why we use it. Okay. Then the next thing that we have in Android is the foundation part. Okay. So you can note it down, okay, if you want to learn it, right? So whenever you think of Android, you need to learn these 5 things. Okay, you can exclude the fourth part as of now, which is really being used, but from interview point of view, lots of questions are being asked on this basis. Okay, so first is intent. First is activities. That is your screen that I'll cover once we move on to the practical part. Then we have intents that I feel is already being covered yesterday. Then we have broadcast receivers. Then we have services. Then we have content providers. Then we have widgets. Okay, you can note these points. Okay, so these are the things that you need to learn in order to say that, okay, I can build an application in Android. If you are aware of these basic things, you can build any application. Okay, then we have development part. What do we need in order to develop Android application? We have Android. We need Android Studio. We need the SDK for sure. We need JDK to compile to the environment that we need for Android to run. Then we need a system for sure, Mac or Windows. We can use both of these, either of these, right, just to build our application. Then we have the languages, Kotlin or Java. Java is barely being used nowadays because the support or the existing libraries are not updated, are not getting updated now. So the main first preferred language or the official language for Android development is Kotlin. So whatever, if you are going to start something or you are going to start learning Android, you need to consider this language, or you need to build applications on top of this language only. Okay. So this was a small piece that I wanted to cover via slides only. Okay, I'll move directly to the practical part now. So once you click on this Android Studio, it will start loading, right? So I'll keep on asking the questions now. Okay, so what is the meaning of, since you have covered the basic things yesterday, whenever you click on new project, right, you see this, right? What is the purpose of this? These all things that we have. I'll switch to chat. Okay, I'll cover it. Okay, so this is an empty activity. That means we don't need any piece of code to be auto generated. Okay, and we want to start the application or start creating a project basically with an empty code base. Okay, this will simply create an activity and the corresponding layout for it. Okay, and if you want something, let's say if I want to start with some sort of layout having a navigation drawer, the side menu that we have in application, or maybe Google Maps, right? I can select this template. All the auto generated code that we need, right, will be auto generated in this activity, and we can use it. It's a kind of ready to use material that we have. We just need to place or update the labels in the activities. Okay, so right now we'll start with the empty activity because we are starting very fresh. Now once you click on this, this is the very first part that you see, your application name. Okay, so give the name as per your requirement. Okay, so I'm giving this. If you see, this is the package name. Can anybody tell me why this is so important? This one, this package name, this one.
Because it's unique for every app. No two apps can have the same package name.
Okay. Yeah, right. Let's go to some of the applications. Go to Google Play Store. Let's search something, WhatsApp maybe, right? Okay, if you click on WhatsApp now, you'll see this is the ID, right? So this is your package name. So whenever I'll zoom, okay, this will not get you. So this is the ID. So whatever your package name is, whenever you publish your application, you'll see your package name reflecting here. Okay, and this has to be unique. So if you don't have it unique, it won't allow you to upload the APK in your developers console. Okay, then you have the location part in your local. Then you see the language Kotlin Java. Okay, we'll use Java. Now this is the very important part, right? If you see the minimum SDK, we need to choose it very precisely, right? So by default it pops 8.0, that is audio, and right now 60.8% of percentages of devices has this operating system. Okay, so that means the user base for this this platform or this operating system is huge. Okay, if I go back to Nougat, you can see still 73.7% 7% of devices are having this. So that means this is again a huge user base. So we'll try to use the minimum we'll try to choose the minimum SDK very precisely. I'll choose this one for now, but let's say you want to target users which are using 7 as well, you can select this one. If you don't select this, your application will start from here only. Okay, then just click on finish. Okay, so this will start loading it. I'll close this window. Just one second. Okay. I'll enlarge this window. Okay. I need to see the comments as well. Okay, so since you have covered the basic part, what is the purpose of on-grid? Why do we have this method? Why do we have this method on-grid? Okay, I'll keep writing. Okay, so very important. The very first thing that is important in Android point of view is life cycle of an Android application. Okay. If you see here, this is the very first method that we have. Then we have on start. Okay. Then we have on resume. Then we have on pause. Then we have on stop. And the final one is on destroy. Okay. So this is one activity or one screen. Okay. I'll explain here what is an activity. Can anybody tell me what is an activity?
Screen, sir, which appears.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is nothing. This is a screen that user sees. Okay, very first thing. So what screen has? It has a layout. Let me know if the font is too small. Huh? Okay.
It is too small.
Okay. Yeah. Keep typing this. Okay. What the screen has? Has a layout, right? And user actions. So this makes your screen complete in Android. A layout and you handle the user actions. Okay. And the next thing, the very important thing, life cycle. Okay. This is life cycle of activity or screen that I'm talking about. Okay. So whenever user clicks, let's say, show you something. Okay. So these are the logs that we have in Android. I'll put it error. On grid. Let's have it D. Started. Copy. I hope emulator is already covered, right? And you know how to create and use it. Right. Now this is our hello world that we have just executed. Now let's go to the logcat. Okay. So whenever you print something using logs, there are 5 varieties of log that we have in Android. If you see, go to the logcat and you'll see this verbose. If you click on this, you'll see debug, info, warning, error, and assertion. Okay, so these are the 5 type of log that we have. Whenever you want to print a error, you will use log.e. Okay, here you'll use log.e. But if you want to print something debug, from debug point of view, you'll use e. And if you want to print a warning, then you'll use w. And info is for the info part. Okay, similarly we have rest of the categories. Since we have printed debug, we'll click on this and we'll search for this one. Okay, so here you can see this. Once this screen was loaded, the first method that got executed was onCreate. It says started, right? The next method that is being invoked is onStart, and the next one is onResume. Okay, now let's say if user clicks on your application home button, okay, now your onPause and onStop methods are being invoked, these two. But onDestroy is not being invoked because our application is in background. If I click on this, onResume will get invoked, not onCreate, not onStart. Okay, now let's quickly go to Google and search for life cycle of Android. Go to images. Which one? Okay, let's start with the first one. Now here, if you can see, let me zoom in. This is what we discussed. Activity launched. OnCreate was the first method, then onStart, then onResume. Activity was being displayed to the user. Then once user clicked on home, it went to onPause, onStop, but onDestroy was not invoked, right? Since application was running in background. So these are very important for activity point of view, right? Now, this is your method when user actually starts interacting with your activity. That means clicking on buttons, navigating between your application. So this is the method when user sees your application and is using your application. That's when you get to know. Okay, so let's say we are running a very heavy operation. Okay, maybe a service kind of thing, or some other database operations. So whenever application is in foreground, we'll start the operation, but whenever application goes to background, right, or we'll stop that operation, or we'll put a halt on that operation. So we need some sort of methods to work on, right? So these are the methods. Let's say, so it goes to background, we'll use onStop, or let's say if user kills the application now. Okay, right, if user kills the application, you'll see a lot of different things which are being running now. Okay, so these are the demos. I'll fill all first. Okay, now if user kills your application, you need to go to onDestroy. Okay, so if those applications are being killed forcefully, you don't see any onDestroy method being invoked. Okay, if user clicks on background and click on back, your application will be killed from the stack. Okay, then you'll see onDestroy getting invoked. So you need to utilize these methods as per your need. Okay, now these what are your activity methods. What if we want to handle these lifecycle methods at application level? Okay, so how do we create an activity? My next question to all of you is, how do we create a new activity? Don't be bored. I'll be covering lots of new things. Just wanted to touch base with all the audience since we are very fresh, right? So how do we create activity? This is your package name, right? So this is very important. This view as well in Android Studio. If you click on Android, you'll see all the Android files, but if you click on project, you'll see all the project files. Okay, right, so this is our package, and if we need to create a new activity, we'll click on new. We'll click on Java or a Kotlin file. Let's say we want to create a Kotlin file. Okay, we need to create a Kotlin class. I'll name it as application class. Now I'll extend this with Android application, right? Provides now on create. Okay, so this is your application basically. Okay, so you do have a application lifecycle as well. I won't cover that one because that again requires to implement next set of interface. Okay, so what is the difference between extending a class and implementing an interface in Android? How do we create an interface in Android? What is the interface?
So the screen that appears when we run an application where we interact with the system.
No. So interfaces, have you worked with Java?
So interface is like a blueprint. We need to implement it.
In layman language, if I want to discuss what is an interface in any language you must have worked on. Okay, blueprint is it's some sort of correct, right? So let's say I'm building an application, okay, and it has some set of operations that needs to be performed. Let's say this is my activity, right? So can I write something like this? This is for extension. I'm extending our activity or making this class as an activity by extending with app compact activity. And now I want to implement an interface which will contain some sort of methods where I will write an operation or code which will be performed. Okay, so let's say the basic operations I have written it here. It is throwing me an error since I have not implemented the methods which are being defined in this interface, right? So whenever you implement an interface, you need to override the methods that you have in your interface. So I'll implement these methods. So now you'll see these methods are being added in my activity, right? So let's say now are you aware of toast message in Android? Are you aware of toast message?
No, sir.
No.
So kindly
Okay.
pardon.
So basically, whenever you want to display a message, right, alert kind of message in your activity or class, right, then you use toast. It's a way of kind of way of displaying a message in your application.
So snack bar and toasts.
Yes, snack bar is something that gets that's get invoked from the board from the bottom of your application, but I'll show you how it works. Okay. So did you work with Leveling yesterday to handle on click actions? This is your layout, right? I'll quickly jump to layouts as well after this one. Right. So whenever you want to access a particular piece of element or a widget in a XML file in your Java file, right? You need to define a ID for that widget. Okay. So let's say I'll give it as hello world txt for now. Okay. So this is the ID that I have defined. Since I'm using Kotlin, I can directly invoke this here, right? So I need to perform a click listener on this one. So this is a method set on click listener, right? This one. So have you worked, firstly, have you worked with on click listeners?
No, sir.
Okay, then I need to switch to something else very quickly. This, so this is a piece, right? If I click on this one, you'll see this message add invoked, right? This one. So let's do one thing. Let's start again from the very this one. How much time do you think? Because I discussed with Loveleen yesterday. Someone was asking, is there any quick way of creating a layout, maybe drag and drop kind of thing? Because writing code is pretty. It's going to be tedious process, right, or a difficult process. So anyone discovered something?
I was asking.
Yeah. So did you discover the easier way of doing it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what was that?
It was there was a where there is written code split design.
Mm-hmm. So you want to go to design, huh?
There in design mode. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I find that making a layout is quite, what do you
Easy,
say,
huh?
easier than code.
Okay. I hope
Because
Loveleen is.
in the right pane, all the attributes are mentioned.
Okay. Okay. I hope Loveleen is also here, right? Let me check if she's there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. So we'll quickly create a small piece. Okay. Let's say, because since you are saying this is easier, right? And I never work with this. Okay. Now, since our base is okay. This is your text. Okay. So let's give it as 50 dp and height as 50 dp as well. Let's go to this one. I just want to show you the problem with this one. Right. So let's say I'll go to the code view now. Okay. So whatever I designed, it was for this device, Pixel device, right? This one. What if I want to go to some custom devices, some custom layouts? So the drawback of creating a layout while using drag drop is you can create it for one screen only. How it will behave or how it will look like for other set of screen sizes, you cannot, predict, or you cannot think of. So the easier or quickest way of doing it. Yes, go on. Okay. So this is your linear layout, and linear layout has two options: vertical or horizontal. Okay, just two ways. So the very first way is horizontal or vertical that I'm going to discuss. Okay, let's say I'm going to define two buttons. Motion layout and RX, I'll discuss it, no worries. Text, button 1, okay. Let's copy it. Paste. 3, 4, 5. So this, if we use linear layout, it will align your elements or children's either vertically or horizontally. Okay, so this is vertical right now. Let's say if I switch to horizontal, it will align my this basic children of this layout as vertically. Okay, now another thing that needs to be learned about this is the weight sum. Okay, let's say we'll give weight to each and every one. Now you can see all the buttons are aligned equally, right? If I give this as vertically, you'll see everyone is aligned vertically, but in a proper way. So if I give this as max parent, okay, so what is the purpose of this weight? So it will equally divide whatever space available in your screen to all the children. Okay, so I have defined it as 1. So that means 1 is my property and that needs to be divided equally among my children, right? This is what linear layout is stating right now. So if we have defined 1, that means if I have given 0.2 this one, so each and every one has 0.2. But if I give this one as 0.5, right, you will see this children has more property as compared to other ones. So the size and the occupation is large, right? Similar is the case with horizontal. Okay, so you need to use these weights as well at some point of time, since you are dealing with these layouts, right? Now what if I change this to relative layout? Nothing is being shown, right? So I'll close this one. So next thing that you need to learn whenever you think of layouts is relative layout. What does relative layout do, right? So it will align all the children's relatively. Okay, let's say this is your first children that you have, but it is not being shown, so you need to use IDs whenever you are dealing with relative layout. Okay, this is button 1, this button 2, this is button 3, this is button 4. See, I have seen the questions as well. One guy was asking about this what do you call it, motion layout and RX, the significance of RX in Android. But since most of the audience are in very in beginning track, so I wanted to cover all these, and I'll discuss RX and that part separately with the guy who has asked the question. But you need to know the basics very well whenever you jump to another thing, right? So you can see, since there is no change in the layout right now. Relative means placing your widgets relatively. Okay, so I'll say this is my second button. Please look very closely. This is my second button. This should be below first one. Okay, this should be below first one. So now you can see the second one. This button should be below second button. This button should be below the third button, and this button should be below the fourth button. Okay, now we can see all the buttons, right? Since we have placed them relatively with respect to each other, right? Now what if I'll wrap this one, we also wrap it, okay? So, but I don't want this to be below of this. I want this to be right of button one, right? Now you can see this button is being placed right of this, okay? But if I want this, I want this to be align right to the parent at the beginning, right? I'll say align parent right true. It will go to the right. If I say align this center in parent, it should be center of the screen, right? So you can see it is center, and automatically other buttons are being placed accordingly. Okay. So now let's quickly design something to boost the energy, right? Okay, this is our profile image. Source, maybe a launcher icon will be there, right? Let's give a margin from top 20 dp. Good enough. Good. Then we'll quickly have what should we call it? Let's say text view. Okay, someone can share the details. Any name? I'll pick Keshav. Okay. Lots of things I need to cover about Android, okay, today. So be with me. See how I am designing. If you have any doubt, just let me know. I'm just using one layout only. I'll use the another one straight away. Okay. So this is Keshav, right? Let's say action. Right? Okay, so this is also done. Okay. So I'll nest something now. Nesting of, this is called nesting of layouts. If you use layouts between layouts, okay. So let's, if you want to add some more styling to your text, right, you can always give the size. That is, so another thing here that you need to learn from interview point of view or from beginning point of view is difference between SP and DP, scaling pixel and density pixels. Okay, so if we defining margins or size of something, we use DPs, right? But if we are defining text sizes particularly, we use SPs. Okay, and why do we do that? Right. Okay, so this is a pretty simple thing that I have defined as of now. Now let's try to give something here, maybe 200 dp. Increase, right? Let's increase this just for visibility purpose. Let's make it bold. You can always define the font family here as well. Okay, by default we have Robotone Android. You can define it here, but I'll not do that. Okay, so let's do a bit of styling here as well. Maybe 100. Good enough. 60. So what is gravity? Was there yesterday? It was getting discussed. What do you understand by gravity? What is gravity? Again, a new thing. Difference between gravity and layout gravity. So this is a pretty basic layout that we have created for now. Okay. Let's remove this. Let's see. Why I have done that, I'll explain, because I wanted to cover something. So everyone can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubt up till now what we have done, because I'm jumping to something very important now that all of you need to know. What is, why I'm writing, because you can always click a picture or something. Nesting of layouts. This is another important thing. Why? Because how does this impact performance or rendering of views? Okay, so let's jump to the very next interesting part, in which you'll not get bored for sure. If I go to Android now from here, you see these Gradle scripts, right? What do you understand by these scripts? First, second, 3. So we have 3 dot Gradle files in our project. Why do we have it? Anyone? Why do we have these Gradle files? Okay. Let me go to the first Gradle file. Setting. Let me comment this code. Let me sync this. Anyone? Do you see any difference? Any difference do you see? Once I commented this include app. In comments, do you see any difference? Once I commented out this, let
Yes,
me
sir.
uncomment. What was it?
It changed from straight, it became italic.
What? Changing from?
Sir, it was normal and then it italic.
Okay. Just a color change, huh?
Yes, sir.
No. Okay, it's a good thing that you saw. If you see this, right, this is your app. It's a green bubble that you can see right now. But if I comment out this and I sync this, now you won't see this. You don't see a green dot in front of it, right? So this is not more included in your project. This folder, whatever app folder that you have, whatever code you have written, it is not there in your project anymore. By this I mean,
And why did that?
yes. So this is the importance of these Gradle files that we have. Okay, this is a very important files that we have, and we need to know, or we should know the significance of these files. Okay, so this is the first file that we have, settings.gradle. Okay, so this contains all the modules which are present in your application. Firstly, okay. This lets your compiler which module to compile, or simply gives directions what to do. Okay, so whatever you define in settings.gradle from modules perspective. Another thing, Android works on modules. Okay, Android works on modules. So by default, whenever you create your project, you'll see one module. At least one module should be there for Android to work. Okay, Android project to work. So this is the by default module that you have, app module. Okay, and this is by default included in your settings.gradle. So you will see this include app. So that's why it is getting compiled. But if I comment out this and if I sync this won't work. Any of the code won't work. Okay, so this is the first file where you define all your modules which are supposed to be compiled, or by defining your modules here, you give instruction to the compiler. Okay, this is the module that you need to compile. Simple as that. Okay, so let's do one thing just to test it. Let's sync this one. Now it is sync. Now you see a green tick here. Now click on this project, go to new, click on module. Okay, Android module for sure. Android library is your module. Click next. Now give a name, new module maybe. Okay, once you click that, Kotlin is the language again. This is the supported system. This is your package name for the module. You click on finish. Now you will see a new line is being added, that is a new module, this one. Sorry for the background noise. So this is your module which is being added now. Okay, so let's, if we put it that way, it will also work. Okay, so this is your main module, this is your new module which will be acted as your library. So you can add n number of modules in Android project, and you need to define it here if you want to compile it. This is the significance of first Gradle file that we have. Okay, and if you open this project, this module, basically you'll see similar sort of structure, right? This is your main, Java, your package, your manifest file, your Kotlin, and your module. Here you can right click and you can create another class in this module. Let's say demo. So you'll see a demo class. You can extend this with a compact activity, right? Again, you can have your on create method here, and you can define your layout. This is how you create modules in Android. This is the significance of first Gradle file. Now let's come to the second one. This is your second Gradle file that you have, build.gradle, which is outside or within your project. This is not inside any module. these two files, settings.gradle and build.gradle, but it resides in your project directory. Okay, if you collapsed and if you expand it, you'll see this build.gradle file. Now here you'll see repositories. How many of you understand what is a repository? What do we understand by repository in cloud? Repo in cloud. How many of you understand repo in cloud? Okay, let me quickly explain this one too. This was our activity or screen that we call it, right? We had this app compact activity. If we click on these imports, right, you'll see Android X, app component, app activity, bundle, log, toast, from where all these are coming from, right? Best way to know the purpose or implementation of something, just on comments and see the errors. Right. Right. So you are not able to find anything now. This is your next project Gradle. You're not able to find this plugin, anything. So let me uncomment and explain this one. So this is top level Gradle of your project, which defines from where we will get all the Android components. Okay. So if you are using some Android components or a library, it will look into Google or GCenter. These are the repositories defined in cloud from where all the libraries which are being used Android SDK or Android project are defined in these two repositories, Google and GCenter. This is the purpose of your second Gradle file that we have, the main purpose. Then we have third Gradle file, right, that we call it as module level Gradle file. You can see we have two modules as of now, app and new module, and both have build.gradle file. Okay, if I open our main module Gradle file, you'll see. So here we define all the configurations with respect to your application or your module, right? If we, let's say, if we don't have this new module as of now, you'll see the configuration. This was the initial configuration we defined, right? The Oreo we need to target compile SDK, right? The minimum SDK was Oreo, right? Then we have this target SDK, the version of the application. This was our package name. Basically, we can always change it from here as well, right? Then we have dependencies. So these are the dependencies or the libraries that we are using in our module. Okay, so I'll quickly explain how to use or how to add a dependency. Now we had this layout, right? Image view, we had Kesha, where that we had ClickMe, right? So let's do one thing. Learn three things at one time. Okay. Now I want to add a library into my module. Okay. So let's quickly go to Google. Okay. I want to add an imaging library. Firstly, Keshav, in the meanwhile, can you give me your LinkedIn profile link in the chat? Okay. So this is a documentation of a third-party library which basically loads image from URL from outside. Okay. So let's quickly go how it works. So now you can see this comes under this repos. Okay. These are already defined, so we don't need to bother. Now these are the dependencies that we need to add in our module where we want to use it. So just copy this one, go to your module, paste it, and sync your project. Once it is done, you will see a success message. Okay, so this is done now. So now we want to use it. How do we use it? Let's scroll down. So it says just this is the library that we are going to use. This is the library that we are going to use now. Glide, we need to pass the context, then we need to pass the URL, then we need to give the view in which we want to load the image. Okay, so let's quickly go back to our code, our interfaces that we created, right? Go to basic operations. Let's say load image. We'll give it as load image. Okay, let's go to main activity, right? We'll clean this up just for your understanding. I'll remove this method as well. Just one method, that is load image. Okay. Now let's go to this view of ours. This is action button. Let this be load image button. Let's have it here. So I want, now what I want, whenever user clicks on this click me button, image should be loaded from internet. The very first thing that I want to do. So how can I do this? I'll get this image load button. If I open this one, right, this is the button. This is the ID that I have given. I'm accessing this ID in my file, Kotlin file, where I want to perform an operation. So I'll define this here. I'll press dot, then I'll set a function, call a function that is set on click listener. Okay. So whenever user clicks on this, I want to do something. I want to load image. So I'll call this method here, load image. I'll not invoke a toast now. I'll go to the documentation of my third-party library. Okay, so it says for simple view, we already have an image view, right? So what we want to do is, let's go to the layout. This is our image view, right? This one, profile image. So we want to load external URL image from from internet into this. So let's copy this one as written in the documentation. Go to this, copy it here. So now it is asking to import this, right? Whatever we are using, it has to be imported here. Since toast it is not being used anymore, it is showing in grayed color. So I remove this one. Now you don't see an import of this library here. But if I go back to my Gradle file, right, project module Gradle file, I have added these two lines, right, for the third party library. So it will help me import those. Now this is being added into my project, but not being used right now. So now those I'll not get an import option. Now I have imported it. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's comment out these lines and sync it. Now I don't have these third party library anymore, but I'm using the files. So you'll see it is throwing an error. It is not able to recognize this package anymore because that library is being removed. So whenever you want to add a library, you want to go to your project and go into your Gradle. Go to your module, go into your build.gradle, add the third party library, sync it, and you'll see this is working fine now. Okay. Now I want to load an image into profile image. Okay. So let's see if Keshav has. Keshav, can you share? Anyone can share your profile, LinkedIn profile. I'll fetch the image from there. Whosoever is interested. Anyone? Do we have anyone?
Yes, sir, I'm sharing.
Okay. Okay, let me go to my LinkedIn in that case. I'll search for Loveleen here. Go to Loveleen's profile. I guess I'm not able to click on her image. Okay. So click on this. I'll copy the image address here. And let's say what address do we have? So this is her image, okay? So let's go back to our code. So we'll replace the URL here, right? So it won't load, okay? It will get failed. It will get failed for sure. So I have executed the application as of now. Okay, so let's go to the logcat just to see the error. Once I click on this. Okay, so this is the error, right? Once I click, it is not showing anything, right? So how to check the errors in your application? If you see, it says internet permission is not there. That's why the image is not getting loaded. So whenever you are interacting with any internet operation, right, or where the network is required, you need to go to your manifest file. You need to define your permission here. So this is the permission that I've defined now. Okay. So let's click on this again. Let's see if we get any other error now. Okay. So now the image is getting loaded now. Okay. Okay, so the image is getting loaded. So how do we debug? This is the very next step in an Android application. Debugging. Do we have any other URL? Okay, we have lots of. Let's pick Chinese. Okay. Keshav's profile. Let's go to Keshav's profile. So this is Keshav's image. Very nice image, right? Okay. So how do we debug in Android? So if you want to debug a particular point, you need to set a debug point for sure. Let's say I have added a debug point here, red dot, and I want to add, whenever user clicks on something, I want to debug. So I have added two debugs point on line number 16 and line number 22. So let's run the application now. Okay, if I click on this, Loveleen's image is getting loaded, but I don't have a debug point now. So now I am going to add a debug point. So if you see here, attach debugger to Android process. If you can see my cursor, this just to the left of stop, you'll see attach a debugger option. If I click on this one, you'll see my active devices and the application which is being running currently. So this is our application with our package name. So I'll click on OK. Okay, do we have any questions? No. Okay, so now you can see this debug points are being active now on line number 16 and this. So whenever I'm going to click on this, debug point will be there. Now I clicked on this. Now you can see nothing is being changed right now, but debug point. So this is where my application is being currently stopped. Okay, now you can see the debug tab is being activated at the bottom here, this one. So I'll expand this one. Okay, I'll click on variables. So I'll click on this play button. It will go to the next debug point. So it goes to here, right? If I click on this, this works fine. Now let's do something. Where image URL. Okay, let's have it as copy this one. Okay, it's too long. Let me copy again. So here I'll paste it. This is Lovelin's image URL that I have in the variable right now. Okay, so I'll use variable instead of defining it here. Okay, so I'll give image URL here just to explain debugging. Okay, so here if you see, I click on Lovelin's image is getting loaded as expected. Now I'll add the debug point now. Okay, I'll click again. You'll see the debug point goes to the click listener now. If I click on play again, it goes to the next one. I'll add a debug point here also. So I'll click now. So here you can see in the debug, you can see all the variable and the values. So this is our variable image URL, and this is having a value, the URL of the image, right? So if I click play, it will keep on showing Lovelin's image, right? But I want to experiment something. Okay, so let's go to Keshev's profile, copy it. Now this is our image, right? What I want to do is I want to change the value of this variable runtime in debug mode. So I'll right click on this one. Okay, I'll click on set value where I can change the value of this one. Okay, I'll add a new value. I'll press enter. Now this is Keshev's profile URL. Now this is one way of doing it. Other way of doing it, just click on this variable expression, evaluate it. This is your value, right? You can always change the value from here also, right? Like this, the value will be updated. So now let's go to the next one. Just 1 second. Okay, so now I'll click on play. So here you can see Keshev's image is getting loaded, but this was Lovelin's image in the image URL that we changed dynamically. Okay, if I stop the debugger, if I click on Lovelin's image will be there, but if I click on again, nothing will be changed. So this is how you can utilize debug mode just to evaluate your values. Okay, so now this is not looking the UI is not looking that great. So I want to quickly add one more image library. Okay, just to showcase you how to add a third-party library again. This is an image, right? I want some this kind of image to be there in my UI, right? So this is the dependency again. I'll copy this dependency. I'll go to my build.gradle app. I'll add another dependency, a third-party library. I'll sync it. Once it is synced, I'll go to the next documentation part. This is the layout. Okay, so I'll copy this one. This needs to be added in our XML for sure. Let's go to the XML part. So this was our profile image, right? So I'll paste this one. I'll copy all the rest of the properties and ID from here. I'll replace it with this one. Okay, so I'll remove this one now. Okay, so this needs to be there. Okay. Let's run now. Let's see how quickly we can correct this one. Right, so now you can see With the use of another library, I have rounded out this image. So this is how you add dependencies in your project. Okay, this is how you debug. This is how you create modules. This is significance of these Gradle files. Now the next part that we have, we are almost out of time. The variants, build variants, right? So every module has two variants. One is debug, another one is release. So if you see, we have two modules as of now. One is app, another one is new module that we created. Both have debug and release modules. So whenever you're going to push our application on Google Play Store, you need to test your release module, and this has lots of issues. Okay, so I guess this is pretty much from my side as of now for today, because I don't want to take much more of a time. Over to you, Keshav and team. And I'll be uploading this demo on my GitHub. If you have any other doubts, okay, just one more thing I'll cover quickly, because I want all of you to have good basics. So if you see here, we have resources folder as well. Okay, now this layout was designed for with what do you call it, for phone. Okay, remove this one. This was designed for phone only, this layout. Okay, this one was designed for phone only. Now what if I want to design it for tablet? Okay, so this is your layout. So you need to create another directory, that is layout with a hyphen and adding land to it. So this is your landscape mode. Okay, so now you can add a new layout here. Because you won't get time to learn a few things. So this is your landscape. You can see here you design for land for your tablets. Whatever design you are designing here, this one, you need to copy the same design and you need to put it in your landscape folder as well. Okay, so here you can see this is for landscape mode now. This your file, this your layout. So whenever your application is running in landscape mode or in a tablet, this layout will be loaded instead of this one. Similarly, we have values folder in it. You can have multiple values folder as well. Okay, with respect to your device resolutions. Okay, let's say give an example of other thing. This is your values folder where you define all these things. You can define a file here, diamonds.xml, where you need to define all the values, whatever you define here. Let's say if I go to this, just wanted to cover this one quickly. Okay, so here you can define it, name, let's say. So if you go to this diamond file now, you'll see this is being defined. So we have different diamond files, dimensions.xml, basically the full name, which contains all the text size and all the margins that you have in your application. And you can always have values -360 values, have 720, or with your languages, right, Hindi or other, if you want to make a multilingual languages, then you can have multiple folders of values as well. Okay, so the purpose of these folders are there. So we have a very short time, that's why I'm not covering it right now. So over to you, Keshav and team. And if you have any doubts, you can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn, plus this is my GitHub account where I'll upload my this sample. Okay, you can always follow this one. You can find my repos here. I'll upload my repo here, this one. And if you have any queries, you can reach out to me over LinkedIn. Yeah. So that's it. Thank you from my side. And if you have any questions, I'll reach out to RX and motion layout separately for sure.
Yeah, and if any doubt, any small, big, because obviously Kamal sir gave you the contact how you can contact him, but I don't think it is a better option to जो भी problem है तुम लोग का ये 1-2 दिन में, so you can directly tell Kamal sir and Kamal sir will help you. So कुछ भी doubt हो you can ask now. Yes guys, because जो लोग अभी I don't think कोई सो रहा होगा, but still जो लोग सो रहे थे kindly fill at the attendance form, because if you don't, the जो भी goodies है and जो भी मिलने वाला था ना वो भूल जाना, because you have to be attended the 2 session तभी तुमको मिलेगा. Okay, so chat section में दिया है already, so you can go and fill it up. And after filling up, जो लोग already fill up कर चुके हैं एक बार confirmation दे दो chat section में कि done, या fire जो भी तुमको अच्छा लगे वो दे देना.
Okay, how many guys want to pursue IT or development from careers perspective?
Me.
Okay, so since you are responding now, okay, so whatever session you attend, whether it's not your technology or something, right, you need to listen carefully. This is a very small that I have shown. You can see I have just loaded a page and explaining some basics. It took more than an hour, right? But if you start learning it, it will take more than a month for sure. Okay, so be active in whatever technology you are working on, but always try to learn the basics for sure. This is my recommendation or my advice. If you are going to pursue IT, don't go for fancy things, right? I can see guys going for machine learning and all other things, putting GitHub, face recognition, TensorFlow and everything. But if you are working on TensorFlow, let's say, try to learn the basics first, then try to implement something on your own. Okay, so because if you land into your campus placements, or if you are going for any other interviews, offline interviews as well, if you have a guy like me in front of you who give more emphasis on basics, 99% of the recruiters give emphasis on basics, not for a specific language, but how you approach a solution, what are the basics needs to be covered for a particular problem, how to approach it, feasibility, right, how you design it, how you debug it, what are the pros and cons, each and everything you should know before you jump into any technology. Okay.
Yes, and one more thing, just because the maximum people over here are from first year, so I think they're not still aware of the campus placements and interview, all that part. So my question to you, on behalf of all them, will be like, as you already spoke, like what they will face at the interview, but what they have the 2 to 3 years they have from now. So what they can do in the meantime, like in number of projects or the quality of projects they can do in Android or any type of development. So what in the 2 to 3 years, like can you just give them a blueprint or a guide, like what to do the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, sure. See, everyone of us has something. Okay, so if you are not interested in development or coding or anything, do consider the alternatives. Okay, a very good demand of UI UX. UI UX developers are getting more pay compared to developers right now. Testing is another phase. Sales, right? is another feature of IT that we have, or another perspective from job point of view that we can consider. Then we have DevOps, then where we use GCP or Azure or other things to deploy things, right? So there are lots of vacancies for that also. Then we have front end, in which we have web, mobile, right? So firstly, sit and think what you need to do and what is good for you or what you can do eventually. Let's say if I am interested in web, what are the technologies which are having high demands right now in the market, then I need to follow. Just learn the basic, don't go deep into a particular technology. Let's say if you want to learn Angular, learn it, learn each and every prospect of that technology, and keep your hands on a particular technology. Okay, so just pick your field in which you feel you can do good, whether it's sales, DevOps, testing, UI, UX. Then keep pushing your limits into that technology. Whatever is coming new each year, you need to grab it. You'll get a job for sure, but you need to persist, or you need to stick to a technology. But do choose a modern technology for sure, considering the future of the technology. Let's say mobile technology, do they have 15-20 years? Sales is always there, DevOps is always there, UI UX will be there for forever. So choose a particular technology, set a goal for it, and every year set your targets. Let's say right now me and Navleen is giving a session. Next year you want yourself to give a session in your campus or maybe in your class, teaching them how to use Android or how to use DevOps, how best utilization you can do of these technologies. So keep pushing yourself. You'll find yourself in a place where you'll have multiple offers by the end of your graduation or post graduation for sure.
Thank you, sir. I think that was really helpful, and it will help all the first years and second years to have a clear path for the next 1 to 2 years. And anyone else, because we have already come to the end of the session, any doubt or anything you want to say? Anything?
Yes, just to push everyone, okay. The amount of competition that we have nowadays in the market is huge with respect to students, okay. Uh, I'm not sure which university you guys are working in, but if I talk about North, you must have heard of LPU, Chandigarh University. I have been to this university many a times. If I talk about LPU, okay, in BTech CSC, the first year, right, there are about 120 sections, and each section has 60 students in first year only. So you can see the amount of competition which is there for you just in a single university. Okay, 120 sections, each section is having 60 students, and you need to compete with them, right, just for the placement. Because let's say if we talk about Infosys or TCS or any other organization, right, they'll be hiring limited students all over India. So all of these are your competition, and how you are going to compete, it totally depends upon you. So you need to push yourself, at least give 1 hour for yourself a day in a particular technology, and you'll see where are you at the end of the year for sure. You'll see your graph rising.
Okay, so thank you, sir. And I don't think they have any question, or they would have asked till now. So again, thank you firstly, Kamal sir, for taking this session. And I'm sure that each and everyone learned a lot from here. And we as a team of DSC SIT, we'd expect that you to, not only at this session, at the upcoming session also, we'll invite you, and you will be happily there. And it was a pleasure having you and Loveleen ma'am over the past 2 days. And yes, those who have missed also, they can have the recording and the YouTube channel also. Please subscribe. Yeah, so that was it. And yes, so a quick update, like tomorrow is nothing. Okay, so this was the end of the day 2, and from the day before, after tomorrow, we'll have our hackathons. So it will be, so those who are late risers, kindly get up at 9 because we'll be starting. And one more thing, you have to at least be present at 9 because उसके बाद ही तुम लोग को email में सब Golam, can you just mute yourself? We'll take questions at the end. Yeah. So yeah, that was it. And yeah, kindly join at 9 a.m. sharp because we'll begin the hackathon from there. It will be a 48 hours long hackathon. So, and after at 10th of your okay, disturbance again. Okay. So at 10th, you have after 48 hours you're complete. Then after in the evening, you have the presentations and where you have to pitch yourself, pitch the idea about the app. And yeah, that's it. It is a fun session. You know, you're learning. You are इसमें बहुत सारे skills भी तुम लोग सीख जाओगे. जिन लोग को first time presentation देना आएगा. Okay. So yeah, that's all. And thank you all for joining again. Thank you, sir. Thank you each and everyone for being a part. And meet you at 8 at which time कोई बोल दो because हम बोल दिए 9 PM को मत आ जाना कोई 9 it's 9 AM. Okay. Thank you all.